Hi, my name is Paxton, and I'm 6 years old, and we're going to talk about Monday Night Football! Pittsburgh Steelers knocked off the Miami Dolphins by a score of 28-15. The Pittsburgh Steelers in 8-6 on top on the AFC North. The New Orleans Saints got a matchup the New York Jets in Week 16. Can the New Orleans Saints and Tyler Shough make it 3 in a row? We'll find out. Back to you, Dad.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
All I gotta say is, who that? Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And really do appreciate you all's time. A special shout out to the Pac-Man for giving us the State of the Saints podcast scoreboard. My little man doing his thing, man. He got bit by the bug, man. He's been asking me to be a part of the podcast, record something for quite some time. So just decided to let him be on camera, man. And he did a good job, man. But we're here to talk about the New Orleans Saints, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the Saints Week 16 matchup versus the Jets as the week go by. But, of course, on this edition, we're going to be talking about quarterback Tyler Shough. And, Tyler Shough throughout the last couple of weeks, slowly making skeptics believers. And can this momentum continue for the New Orleans Saints? It's good to actually watch some Saints football, man. I mean, usually we park in front of the television on Sunday, don't know what we're going to get, right? I mean, we know that old saying from the famous movie Forrest Gump. They say life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Well, life can sometimes be like a Saints game. Never knew what you were going to get. But in this game, it's good to actually get a pleasant surprise in Week 15 as the New Orleans Saints knock off the Carolina Panthers 20-17, and Tyler Shough continues to build momentum and starts to gain a little bit of credibility. Man, I'm starting to slowly see some of the national media wake up and give this guy props. And it's amazing to me, how many people are coming out talking about, how they felt about Tyler Shough, but be honest with you, I didn't see that type of energy at the beginning of the season. The only thing that we seen people say, for the exception of Louis Riddick, was the fact that, he's 26 years old and he's old and he can't play and all that kind of stuff, and kept on showing that pass from the NFL Combine. But look, man, Tyler Shough is playing really good football right now. Every single week, it seems he's gaining momentum, and it's great to see, man. I think that the New Orleans Saints have found something, but we know that it's up to the quarterback. You gotta win the battle of attrition. You got to continue to build. You got to continue to be a student of the game. You got to, try to drown out the white noise. You're never as good as people say you are. You're never as bad as people say you are. But look, it just seems to me like this team is starting to believe in this guy. And you see at the end of the game, you have guys like Chase Young and so many other players that have gone to the podium and said that he looks like he is that guy. Last week when the Saints played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you seen when Cam Jordan broke down the huddle, he said, shuck it, right? So it just seems to me like these guys are starting to believe, and there's nothing better than to actually have a quarterback or a player that you can believe in and know that you have a chance of winning. All you have to do is do your job, and that player will do the rest. and it will lead to success. Now, we know that the New Orleans Saints have a Week 16 matchup versus the Jets. And look, I know people have their reservations and thoughts about the Jets. No, they're not a good football team. They're 3-11, but people can say that the Saints aren't a good football team either, despite the fact that they have been playing better as of late. I mean, so look, these are two teams that are trying to get better. You have Aaron Glenn, who is the new head coach of the Jets. He was hired the same year as Kellen Moore, and some people, wanted Aaron Glenn to actually come to New Orleans. As a matter of fact, there was a chance that Aaron Glenn would have come to New Orleans, based on certain things he wanted in place, didn't want to happen as far as the organization was concerned. But the New Orleans Saints have Kellen Moore, and you see what the Jets have done this past season by moving on from a lot of top guys like Quinn Williams and Sauce Gardner, shipping those guys out to get top draft capital. But look, they got a young quarterback in Brady Cook, who I've watched. If you watch SEC football, I'm pretty sure you've seen Brady Cook play at the University of Missouri. Look, man, if you go sleepwalking through this game, I don't care who you play, you're going to end up losing. So they better take these guys serious. And I don't feel like the Saints are in any place to try to not take anybody serious, because they're the team that nobody takes serious. So the Saints should have, laser focus no matter who they're playing. But all in all, look, I'm glad to see the Saints trending in the right direction. It seems like guys are starting to buy into Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore still is making, some questionable decisions at times, but it's good to see that guys are doing the necessary things to try to get better. I can think of a game where the Saints would have 9 penalties and false start penalties and illegal formations and eligible receivers downfield penalties, and the Saints would have lost the football game. But it's good to actually see them correct the mistakes that they made and try to find success in the process. All right, on this evening, immediately following the State of the Saints podcast, like we do every single Tuesday, just encourage you all to switch over to the NFC South Roundtable. We break down the games from week number 15, and looking forward to seeing some of the members of the Who Dat Nation there if you have a little bit of time in your busy schedule. But let's go ahead and read some of your comments, try to get through as many as we possibly can here. Says, we might got one, TJ. Yeah, it looks like Tyler Shough is looking like he's the part. And it's just amazing to me how Saints fans have gravitated to him. At the beginning when he first was drafted, and, there was little things that Tyler Shough did, I feel like, that helped him ingratiate himself into New Orleans culture. There was an opportunity where Tyler Shough could have went back to Oregon, where he resides, and he could have just stayed there until the season started, a rookie training camp. But he decided to stick around when the Saints signed him, and he got around the city. He felt the vibe, felt the energy, and look, we already know how the city of New Orleans operates, right? It doesn't matter if you're a big time superstar. It doesn't matter if you can't go a block without anybody recognizing who you are. Number one, most of the time, people in New Orleans gonna leave you alone because most of them feel like they celebrities in their own right, so you should be talking to them. But also, just people from New Orleans and people in that area just like down-to-earth people. Like there were countless stories where Drew Brees, when he was in the Garden District, would walk outside his house and nobody would bother him at all, right? As a matter of fact, if you bother Drew Brees, you'll probably have about 10 or 12 people jump on you and tell you to leave him alone. But this is the type of energy that you needed to come with. And I think that it was the complete opposite of what former quarterback Derek Carr came with. And the best thing about Tyler Shough in this situation is he was able to learn from the mistakes of Derek Carr. I wonder what type of energy it would have been, if, maybe Derek Carr didn't exist. Like, we all know that a lot of the first steps that Derek Carr made weren't ideal. And, I think that Tyler Shough kind of looked at that and said, ooh, not me. So he stayed around, man. And then also you see Tyler Shough, man, normally most of the time when you see a guy who, is listening to like local Louisiana music or trying to do certain things, it can come off as phony. It's one thing about Tyler Shough. he doesn't like strike me as a guy that's phony. It seems like to me, like he's a guy that probably asked the question, like, man, what's this right here? And you're like, okay, man, this is a staple. This is, this is this is that. And he's like, okay, man, I can get down with that. And not only does he just, you can honestly tell, like, he actually like studies like what goes on, what's the vibe of the city, and he tries to put it into his psyche, and also try to embed it inside of himself. And I think that is a recipe for success. I mean, people were laughing about the fact that on the last play where he actually made that slide and he was limping off the field, people were saying like he was doing a beanie weenie, like a very popular New Orleans dance, which y'all probably see me doing at the beginning of the show. Some of y'all probably wondering what the hell I was doing. That's actually the dance called the beanie weenie. But it's just stuff like that, man. And I say this, like, if you love New Orleans, it's gonna love you back, man. If you act like you holier than thou and you up here and everybody else down here, it's just not gonna work out, man. So just make sure that you just love the city, man. Don't come off as fake or phony or artificial. And man, people will get behind you, and they definitely will get behind you if you playing some good football. Because Lord knows, at the quarterback position, I mean, it has been a revolving door as of late since Drew Brees retired. So if this guy can build on this momentum and and be the actual franchise quarterback that the Saints need, I think it'll be a breath of fresh air. People will get behind him. No doubt about that. This would be the week the Jets defense finally get an interception. Hopefully not. Yeah, that's crazy, right? 16 weeks into the season and the New York Jets defense still don't have an interception. Man, TJ, what's up with them Panthers fans? Man, I have absolutely no idea. I don't know what's going on with them, man. But, maybe they were just a little bit hyped up, gassed up. The fact that, they beat the Rams and they just, felt a little bit undefeated at that time, man. It's almost like if you're an underdog and you walk into the ring and you facing a heavyweight champion, you knock them out in the first round with an overhand right. And, maybe, like you just caught the guy, slipping and he didn't really take you too serious and he got caught, right? But at the end of the day, I ain't got nothing against the Panthers team, but the fans, like, whoa, man. I mean, they just tried to jump out the window. But that's what happens when you're a desperate franchise. When you're a desperate fan base, man, you just want a reason to cheer. And when you get that opportunity to do that, like, they kind of show their true colors, man. But it was just the wrong time to actually do that. I knew that the Carolina Panthers, despite the fact that they played some good football games, they not where the Panthers fans want them to be. And I just found it hilarious. And the fact that, they fell flat on their face on Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, rather, was funny. But at the end of the day, let's see if they can actually win the division. But they won't be winning the division at the expense of the New Orleans Saints. Like many of those Panther fans that was marching down Bourbon and talking real greasy thought they were going to do. All right. Let's see. Man already read that, says need to keep winning to build momentum going into next season. I agree, man. Saints fans should be at the point where you're not even concerned about the draft pick anymore, man. Like if Tyler Shough is showing you that he's the quarterback, like, what are you looking at as far as like getting the number one overall pick for, right? So you can try to, maybe, get the number one overall pick in order for you to maybe, trade down a little. But if the Saints picking at 6 or 7, like, you still got a possibility of trading down, to be honest. So you still got a chance. And if you have your quarterback who you feel is the franchise quarterback, then you don't go into the NFL draft desperate. And that's what you don't want, right? You don't want to go to Vegas desperate, right? With your last $2, right? You want to go to Vegas, feel like, okay, man, I gamble a little bit. If I win, I'm happy. If I lose, man, it is what it is, right? You don't want to go up in there, pockets empty, and these last $2 decide if I'm going home or not. Like, you don't want that, man. So the fact that Tyler Shough is showing you flashes makes you less desperate as a franchise, which I don't understand why some Saints fans continue to want the Saints to be desperate. If you have a quarterback that's showing you that he could possibly be the guy, and all you need is to build around him. Well, I mean, that's cornerstone material right there, right? I think that it's safe to say that Calvin Banks could possibly, as long as he stays healthy, is your cornerstone left tackle. And if Tyler Shough continues to play the way that he has and gain momentum, then you got yourself a franchise quarterback. And those are two of the most important positions on the field on the offensive side of the football. We're going to have to beef up that offensive line and add more wide receivers and tight end. Yeah, man. I mean, it starts in the interior. You look, I know people, want to make Cesar Ruiz work in the Saints front office, but man, it's time, man. Look, it's time. Cesar Ruiz, it's just not working. Like, you can get, like, if you think that Cesar Ruiz is a solid interior lineman, okay, whatever. But you can actually get something better than what Cesar Ruiz is giving you. Like, you can get something better than that. So, to me, I just think that the Saints need to address the offensive line. But luckily for them, this is a pretty deep draft for offensive linemen. And, you got opportunity to fix this interior if you choose to do so. If you just look past the fact that you just like these players so much and you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, like the New Orleans Saints seem like they've been doing this season. But look, man, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, Cesar Ruiz is a liability. I mean, I was watching the All 22, and I got to tell you, man, I mean, this man stayed on the ground. I mean, Derek Brown, like, took one hand and just slung this guy to the ground like he was an infant child. Like, and then on top of that, like, looking at the beef and the girth on the Saints offensive line, he looks small compared to the other guys, which is insane. I don't know if it's the fact that, like, I guess it's muscle build or whatever, but I don't know, man. Like, you don't want your interior right guard getting manhandled like that. Now, Derek Brown is no slouch. Now, he's one of the best interior defenders in the league. Like, he doesn't get enough credit for how good he is. And I think a lot of people don't give him his just due because he's been injured over the last couple of years. But this guy's really good. But we're not talking about the Derek Browns of the world. Like, we talking about C-plus players out there getting the best of a guy that is a first-round draft pick and you have paid 2 times. So it's time. It's time, man. But what do I know? What do I know, man? NFC South, second best quarterback. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, look, I still believe in Baker Mayfield. I still think that Baker Mayfield still has the advantage. Baker Mayfield is hurt, man. Like, he is hurt. I think that he's battling and dealing with a lot of different injuries, and it's affecting his performance. Like, you're not about to tell me that a guy started off as hot as he did, all of a sudden, like, just like falls off the turnip truck like that. I mean, he was able to keep that momentum going last season, but between the AC joint, there was a couple games he got nicked up in between, limping off the field. I think that those injuries are affecting his performance, not to a point where he can't play, but it's definitely affecting his performance week in, week out. But maybe one day we'll have a different conversation. But Tyler Shough is coming into his own, it seems. He definitely is Caesar. Was getting beat on every play, TJ. Look, like I said, Derek Brown is a beast, but I'm talking about when he goes up against these average interior defenders. Like, you don't want to see your number one draft pick at the right guard position getting manhandled like that. They said, love your show, TJ. Get Shuck a number one wide receiver and a couple of guards. If we could add a dynamic running back, that would be great as well. That's what I'm saying. Like, if the Saints picking 5th or 6th, right? Let's just say the Saints are picking 5th or 6th. Like, that's an area where if a team wants to move up to maybe try to grab somebody else, like, let's just say, for example, I don't know, the top corner, on the board or something like that. And let's just say the Cincinnati Bengals sitting at 10. And they can move up from 10 to 6 or 7 before some other team jump in who probably need a cornerback just as much as they do. Like, they might make a trade with the Saints. Right? Trade up, switch spots with them, probably give up a 2nd-round pick or whatever, or, a 1st-round pick next season. Like, you're not going into the draft as desperate as some fans probably thought the Saints would be this year, which is a good thing. But like I said, like, if they believe that they found the franchise guy, which if he continues to play this way, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't, or at least like go into the season where you felt like, okay, we comfortable enough to feel like Tyler Shough is our quarterback year 2. But, like, man, it's endless possibilities, man. You probably can end up getting Jeremiah Love. Now, you could probably trade a couple spaces down and be able to get that running back. Then you'll be able to, like, I don't know, maybe get 2 second round. I mean, you have your second round pick, Cincinnati's second round pick. I'm only using them as an example because their defense is god awful, and they can just use anything. And you know, you have yourself 2 second round picks, and that could possibly be a wide receiver and offensive lineman. Then we're talking about really making some noise in 2026. The same, let me see, rep Kelvin Bank pancake dude, 15 yards downfield. Yeah, he sure did. I appreciate y'all checking out my broom video I made. Yeah, Jerry, you checked it out, man. Hilarious stuff. Says our first pick in the draft should be an O lineman. I wouldn't object to it. I know Saints fans don't want to hear that, but I wouldn't object to it. I think we need pass protected offensive linemen. I agree. I think they just need some guys that's some dogs. They need some rough riders. Look, the fact that Kelvin Banks carrying defenders 15 yards downfield and stepping over them disrespectfully, I can get down with that. I can roll with that. I just think I feel like the offensive linemen don't need to be nice guys. I never seen a friendly offensive lineman that just end up being great. Like they probably got some great ones out there, you know. But even like Jari Evans, was a quiet guy, but he was mean and nasty on the offensive line, man. Like he was getting disrespectful with it too. But when we look at guys like Trent Williams, and we look at guys like, you know, like that, right? Larry Allen and all these other guys, Willie Rowe. These dudes were mean and nasty, and like, man, you don't want your offensive linemen to be nice guys. You just don't. And you know, hey, man, you want them to be the meanest, nastiest guys that they can possibly be. And I just feel like it seems like you got 2 of them on that line. You got 2, right? But I think you need a couple more, man. I'm talking about guys like, you know, I'm not mad sometimes, like if it get a little chippy. That's what you want, man. You want these guys to have a mean, nasty disposition. Because if they carry themselves like that, playing that position, then they're going to carry themselves like that in tough, adverse situations when they need that first down. I feel like that is what's stopping them from really reaching their full potential as far as offensive line. Like, you need that offensive line. Like, okay, man, I don't care who I'm up against. Like, man, you going backwards. Plain and simple. TJ, I saw you wrote about Alan Lazard. He drops too many passes for me, bro. Look, I'm not asking for Alan Lazard to come in and do and be a 5 to 10 reception receiver. I'm talking about a guy that has really performed well in the red zone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody that can be a big red zone target. Like right now, and shouts out to Ross Jackson, the New Orleans Saints went from being one of the worst red zone teams in football to one of the best. I think their average is about 75% right now. And if you can get a big target like Alan Lazard, who kind of fits that same mold as Devon Vele in those red zone situations, you'll have yourself something. I mean, he's not going to come in at this stage and, you know, and understand the playbook like some of these other guys, like a Mason Tipton or, you know, like, you know, Dante Pettis or Kevin Austin. Like those guys are going to be ahead of him. But you can definitely bring him in red zone situations and he can check those boxes. Like, you're not asking him to do what Devon Vele has done over the last couple of weeks. I'm looking at it from a big target situation, from a short yardage situation on third down. Like he can provide that. Like, I ain't talking about Green Bay Packers Alan Lazard, like when Aaron Rodgers had him running down the field and stuff like that on some of them street routes and 50-50 balls. Like you can give them those 50-50 balls, but in a red zone. That's what I was referring to mostly. But now I'm not asking, like, I think sometimes when people say sign this guy, I think that you're looking at them to sign somebody for them to like really make some noise. Like, it's okay to just sign a guy that just kind of have to carve out a niche for themselves. I don't have an issue with that. I'm not asking Alan Lazard to be the number one receiver on the team. And I think that's what people feel like when they hear somebody say, oh man, maybe they need to check this guy out. Oh no, because it's like it sounds insane if you're like looking at it from a particular standpoint, like, oh, this guy needs to go out there getting 7 to 10 targets a game. Yeah, probably would sound insane. But for a red zone situation where you can get yourself a big target in the back of the end zone, I'll take it. TJ, what are you getting us all for Christmas? Thank you very much for the $199. Look, I'm gonna give everybody here a great show. A great show. Now I'll figure out something, man, especially for like some of the loyal listeners of the show, man. We'll figure something out. I just appreciate everybody, for supporting this podcast and supporting everything that I do here, man. I appreciate it. Says I would like for the Saints to spend the resources to get an elite offensive line coach, someone who could properly develop this unit. Yeah, but I think it starts with some players that you can actually count on and make. Look, I mean, the Saints have had at least 3 or 4 offensive line coaches like in the last 5 years, and it just seems like the more things change, the more they stay the same. So sometimes it may not just be the coaching; it may be what you actually have out there on that field. How big is the receiver that we got from New England? I want to say Jalen Polk, maybe like 6'2", about 210 or something like that. Like he's about 6'2", 6'3", something like that. All right, man. I'm gonna take a few more, and then we're gonna have to switch over to the NFC South roundtable. Says we waste the money on Lazard. Now, if he come in at a veteran minimum, let's see. I wish we could run it back against Miami. We need a Christmas song. Cool Pine, you're right. He is Mike T. Yeah, I mean, he catches everything. Like he's a guy that catches everything. I see a little bit of coasting too, especially like some of those passes in traffic. But I see a little combination of both. Like Colston was a chain mover and a big body guy. He was like that catch that he caught when he jumped up, in the air and he fell to the ground. Like that was classic Colston right there. Colston will put his body, he will put his body in the air, man, and come down with it. Right. But hopefully Devon Bailey is okay. According to reports, he's week to week. So hopefully he can get back, man, because man, that guy's been a godsend for the Saints. Thanks, TJ, for your stream. I got to go moderate for a Panthers Nation podcast right now. You take care, fam, and hope to catch again this week. Who that? Yeah, man, appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by, man. We're about to go ahead and wrap it up anyway. And I'll go ahead and end it with Lazard is going to the Steelers. Going with Aaron Rodgers again. Probably. That's the reason why he ended up being with the Jets. TJ, I think we found a new co-host. Yeah, man. He thank you the co-host. He kept on asking me, like, he was like, Dad, like, am I gonna be on YouTube? I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be on YouTube, son. So he was excited about it, man. He's he's been bit by the bug, man. I guess he's been saying his dad, doing what I've been doing and stuff like that, man. And it's pretty cool, man, when you do something and your kid admire that, man, and want to do it too. Make me feel like I did something right as a dad. But thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, I ask that you all switch over to the NFC South roundtable that's going to be taking place. We're going to be breaking down week 15. Hopefully, I see some of the members of the Who Dat Nation over there. Much love to each and every one of you. And until next time, all I got to say is, Who Dat? And it's over.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
All I got to say is, Who Dat?